When you look up at the night sky, you're looking back in time. Starlight takes time to travel, and what you see is never what's really happening right now. Instead, you're seeing a snapshot of the past. You're also seeing something else, the result of massive stars exploding as a supernova. Our sun will meet the same fate, but that won't happen for billions of years. For now, let us take a trip through a part of our galaxy, where dozens of massive stars have exploded in recent history. In astronomy terms, recent history means hundreds of thousands of years. That's recent enough that the debris from those explosions has had time to dissipate, and it's close enough to affect our solar system. In fact, our solar system is flying straight toward the center of a cosmic graveyard, where dozens of stars met their demise. If you want to visit this place, you'll need to get ready for some extreme conditions. Welcome to the hot bubble. The hot bubble is a massive pocket of space in the Milky Way galaxy, where the levels of dust and gas are extremely low compared to the rest of the galaxy. This region is so huge that if it were plopped into our solar system, it could fit more than 10 quadrillion Earths inside it. Yet, despite its size, the number of stars within it is relatively low. The reason is that the hot bubble was created by a series of supernova explosions that obliterated most of the stars in the area. Those explosions also blasted a hole in the matter that separates star systems in our galaxy called the interstellar medium. So the hot bubble isn't actually a bubble in space. It's a bubble in the matter that fills the space between star systems. If you were hurtling through this region of space, you wouldn't find a lot of things you'd expect to find in space. There's very little dust, which means that new stars are unlikely to form here. And there are relatively few hydrogen atoms floating around. Usually, hydrogen is the main ingredient in space clouds and is what forms the basis of new stars. You might also find it difficult to maneuver because the hot bubble is home to a few large clouds of dust and gas that are drifting through the area. While they may seem like refuges from the chaos, think again. The conditions within these clouds are anything but safe. They contain a few very young open clusters of stars. Being so close to bright young stars might not sound like a bad thing. But these are big, hot stars that live fast and die young. Their violent lives blast powerful winds and lethal radiation outward. Staying close to them is like parking your car next to a teenager with a brand new sports car. Sure, they might seem cool at first, but you're constantly worried that they're going to speed off and crash into everything in sight. If you manage to escape the dangerous stars, you might encounter something else. Even though the hot bubble is mostly empty space, sometimes a comet or meteor hurtling through space will smash into something unexpectedly. That means you should keep an eye out for incoming chunks of ice or rock. And while you're dodging comets and hoping that the local stars don't blow up, you'll have to deal with the heat. Temperatures in the hot bubble can soar to over 1 million degrees Celsius. That's more than 10 times hotter than the surface of the sun. At those temperatures, you won't have to worry about getting burnt to a crisp. Instead, you'll vaporize and become part of the very space you're trying to traverse. It's hard to imagine anything surviving the hot bubble. But NASA's Voyager 1 probe has been cruising through this region for the past decade and is still sending data back to Earth. Of course, spacecraft aren't living things, so maybe try not to think about what that might mean for your body. But none of these are the worst parts about traveling through the hot bubble. That title belongs to the radiation. Although the stars that created the hot bubble exploded hundreds of thousands of years ago, their radiation is still lingering in the area. That's because a supernova explosion is one of the most violent events in the universe. Even though they're incredibly far away, their explosions blast high-energy particles out into space. That means if you're traveling through the hot bubble, you're getting bombarded by radioactive particles from multiple angles. It's not quite as bad as being in the middle of a star or riding shotgun on a supernova. But compared to the relative peace of most of our galaxy, the hot bubble is a war zone. Fortunately, our solar system is passing through the hot bubble, not residing in it. As of right now, it'll take another million years before we hit the hot spot. But that doesn't mean that we're not already experiencing the effects of passing through the bubble. For example, in the early 90s, researchers found spikes of radioactive isotopes of iron buried in ocean sediment, dating back 2 and 6 million years. These spikes are thought to have come from 2 supernova explosions that occurred in our galaxy around those times. To put that in perspective, humans only emerged on Earth around 300,000 years ago, so the world that our ancestors inherited was shaped by exploding stars and laced with radiation from their explosions. Since then, other studies have traced back isotopes of other elements, like cobalt, to supernova. In fact, many of the elements that are key to life on Earth, like gold and uranium, were forged in the hearts of exploding stars. Without supernova, our solar system wouldn't exist. Life as we know it wouldn't be possible. Not only did supernova forge the elements we need, but they also helped create our solar system. When a star explodes, the shockwave blasts through the surrounding space, pushing bits of dust and gas together. Eventually, these particles collide with enough force that gravity brings them together. Suddenly, there's a solid core and a growing collection of dust and gas around it. Before long, a new star is born. Supernova are even responsible for clearing space for our solar system to form. As they blast through the interstellar medium, they punch out holes where new systems can take root. In other words, without supernova, there would be no space for our solar system to grow. Even though we've been passing through the hot bubble for millions of years, we won't feel it until about 1 million years from now, when our solar system reaches the center of the bubble. Once we reach the heart of the hot bubble, things will get bumpy. As the sun moves through denser pockets of space, its path will be disrupted by gravity. That could send the sun careening into new parts of the galaxy or knock Earth out of orbit. Either way, it'll be bad news for life on Earth. The good news is that the sun will likely swing back out of the hot bubble before it runs into any real danger. But it's not great timing. In about 5 billion years, the sun will enter the red giant phase of its life. That's when it will expand and engulf the inner planets, including Earth. At that point, life on Earth will probably end and humanity will have bigger problems than a slight detour through a supernova graveyard. Still, if we make it that far, we can look forward to entering the hot bubble. It might be dangerous, but it'll be beautiful. The backdrop of the Milky Way galaxy will be filled with the ruins of dead stars and the glow of distant nebulae. It'll be a breathtaking sight, but it'll also be a reminder of how violent the universe really is. Right now, we are passing through one of the calmest regions of our galaxy. But as we move farther out, we'll find places where entire star systems are ripped apart by the gravity of black holes. We'll encounter giant clouds of gas and dust where new stars are born and fly through areas where neutron stars smash into one another. Life on Earth is violent. Hurricanes flatten cities, volcanoes erase villages, and tsunamis wipe entire towns off the map. But compared to the universe, our home planet is a peaceful place. The universe doesn't care about us. It doesn't watch over us or protect us. It's indifferent. We're alone. Now watch what happens when a solar system gets too close to a black hole. Or check out closest star to Earth is hiding a big secret.